In this video, I'm going to compare the 2023 Honda XR150L to my 2023 Honda 300LS, being the low seat height version, the lower version of the 300L. Now, as you all can see, we are in a little bit of a different scenery here. We are in my garage, so I hope the lighting and the audio will come out fine. I was just in a pretty bad motorcycle accident up North Georgia mountains on my Triumph. I don't know if you can tell, but the Triumph's not here. The Triumph is done for. Ankle's pretty bad here, hence the reason the long sleeve shirt. I got poison ivy all down my arms. I don't think you guys want to look at that throughout the entire video. But again, that is for another video here. So if you see me hobbling around trying to talk about and get on these bikes, please pardon the different setup here. So kicking it off with the comparison of these bikes, I don't think there's any other area we can start other than being price. The 300LS is roughly around 58, I believe, and then coming over here to the XR150, it is right around 29. So you can say, just making it easy, 6,000 and then 3,000. And at the end of this video, that's the number one thing I really hope I can answer for you. Is it worth the price difference to go with the 300LS over the XR? Now, other than price, the other thing that's your concern or your interest on these bikes right here is going to be the size, the height, right? How easy are they to handle? Now, again, I got to get on the bike the opposite way. I can't really lean on that side to get on here. Okay, so now when we get on the XR150 here, oh, it's very hard to put up the kickstand even. It is such a manageable bike, a flickable bike. When you're off-road, you get stuck in a situation, it's lightweight. Again, you can see I'm right at, I'd say 6 feet with an inseam right around 31 to 32, kind of right in between right there. And I am flat footing this bike. You can see right here. Of course, when you sit down on the suspension compresses a bit, you'll see that happen a lot more on the 300LS actually. But look at this, I'm flat footed with an angle. The confidence, right? If you're a little bit shorter, you got plenty of room to even flat foot this still. Even if you got to go to 1 foot, it's so light and manageable like that, you know? So talking about the height and sitting on it, this bike just gives you that confidence instantly right when you sit on it. And as you can see, you get the same results over here on the LS. Now, the LS initially, when you're not sitting on it, it is a little bit higher out of the gate, but you can see the suspension just sinks down a whole lot more. The 300Ls are known to have very soft suspension, which we'll talk about a little later in the video. But when you sit on it, right, it just sinks down. You can see I got that same arch in my legs right there. And again, it's just when you sit on it, both of these bikes, it's just instantly, all right, yo, let me ride, let me go hit that trail, let me take that right turn, because who knows where that goes, and you feel like you can get through it and manage it and get out of a situation with these bikes. You get something too technical, both of these bikes, that's the best thing, and the thing I really love about both of them is you can just walk it over a really technical situation. If you want to go a little slower, you're a little intimidated, give a little throttle, you're so low, you can just really manage the bike. And it just gives you that confidence. Now, right in line with sitting on them, the one thing I want to really point out here is sitting on the seat. The seat on the XR150L is so incredibly comfortable. It's just thick, it's plush, it's wide. It is so nice. Now, it does have a very, very slight incline forward. So you notice after long riding sessions, you'll be up more towards the tank when you'd rather be back there because it does have that slight incline. But again, it is so stinking plush and so incredibly comfortable. Coming over here to the 300LS, well, it's pretty much a shaved down 300L seat, you know, same density and everything. It is a little bit firmer, but it is a little bit wider. If you've seen a 300L, just think about, say, an inch shaved off that. You can see how wide it is right there. I really love the width of this because my butt's not hanging off it like, say, a dirt bike or something. Very, very comfortable, but yes, a whole lot firmer than the XR. I'd rather take a longer road trip on the XR seat than the 300LS seat for sure. And that brings me right into the riding position and the ergonomics of both bikes. And when we get on the XR150L, by the way, you can see I still got those bigger pegs on there. The stock pegs that come on this bike are so puny, and it's something you got to replace instantly. Links for anything that you see on these bikes will be right down in the description. And if you own an XR150L, trust me, these pegs are a must. But anyways, the riding ergonomics and sitting on these bikes, the XR is a smaller bike, obviously, and you do feel that. You feel a little bit more on top of the bike. It doesn't feel tiny or like a mini bike by any means, but it definitely feels smaller. The bars are lower. I put bar risers on mine before. I transferred all of my mods from this onto that, but I definitely recommend bar risers. So once you put bar risers on this bike, it pulls it up to right here and gives you that locked in kind of secure type of riding feel right here. You're definitely kind of over it, and it's, again, you really feel like you're on top of it. So the bar risers really transform it. But as far as seating position, you're definitely upright. You're not leaning forward excessively, you know. The bars feel a little shorter right here. So all in all, it does feel a bit more compact, but not mini or tiny by any means. It's definitely a very comfortable ride for even long ride sessions. And then coming over, sitting on the 300LS, it's exactly what I wanted the XR to be, right? A little bit up. Now I do have my bar risers and my Pro Taper bars on this now, which I've done on all of my 300Ls, which I've owned 3. It is just fantastic. And even out of the gate, this bike feels really nice. You got that lower seat, so you're down into the bike a little bit more. The bars are up there, even without the bar risers, you know, and it just feels like you're more with the bike rather than on the bike. As far as leg position, they're both pretty much the exact same, and that's gonna, again, depend on your height for sure, but I'm not cramped up on either bike, with this being the LS, the low version, the low seat height, or that being, again, just a smaller bike. Neither of them do you feel cramped up on. Both of them have very, very nice seating position, upright ergonomics. You're not forward by any means. Again, for me being right at 6 feet, I would recommend bar risers on both of them, especially if you're off-road, which I can't demonstrate right now. But if you stand up, stock position, you do lean forward significantly without bar risers when standing up off-road. And for this next segment, I need to go ahead and take a seat. My ankle is screaming here, but it's gonna put me in a perfect position to talk about what I wanna touch on here. And that is the tires on both of these bikes. Now, y'all have heard me talk about the 300L tires multiple times. They're not my favorite, but they always get the job done. They're doing what they need to do, you know what I mean? They are a little dancy in the gravel, a little bit squirmy on the road and everything, you know, but again, they're thin, pretty much like dirt bike tires, you know what I mean? Coming over here to the XR, I love these tires. They are great on the road. They're passable off-road. You all have seen me get stuck in situations, whether it be sand or mud. I've gotten through them all. You know, I definitely got through them all, but I really love them. They don't wobble. They're not crazy dancy. You got great grip and everything. They really did a lot of what I wanted to do. But you've heard me say before, I wish they were a little bit more knobby. So you kind of got the trade-off there. I can say, yo, I love these tires. These tires are good. They're not great, but they're doing that, you know. And like I state in all of my videos, it really depends on your kind of riding. What are you doing? Are you doing a lot more trail, a lot more sand, mud? Well, you're definitely going to be a lot more happy with something that's knobby. If you're just riding around a road and riding some gravel roads, some fire roads, a little bit of trail here and there, these are going to be perfectly fine. They're going to get you through it, and you're really going to like them. Now, the side note of that is, golly, it is hard to find a good set of knobbies for this bike. I just couldn't find any, you know? So, again, that can be kind of a real bummer on this bike. You're hard to find tires. You have to upsize your size, and on a lot of forums, people are like, I don't know if this size fits or that size fits. So, again, that's a little iffy there. Over here on the 300L or 300LS, you can find tons of tires for these. But going right along with the tires, and it kind of plays into the characteristics and the handling of the tires, are the wheels. You got a 21-inch over here, and then over here you have a 19-inch. And that doesn't sound like much, but yes, you will feel the difference off-road. That being on a big bike, a small bike, these bikes right here, you do feel it. You can feel this one, again, kind of just a gust of wind. You'll feel it dance around a little bit. Into that turn, you'll kind of feel it. You're not being able to lean just as sharp as, say, even something like this, you know, that gust of wind, you're a little bit more planted. You know, even off-road, it's a little bit more planted, you know. Now, yeah, this is going to be able to get you through more and over more, a lot easier. But again, as far as confidence, feeling planted, and again, just that peace of mind, that 19-inch tire over here is very, very nice. Again, on a dual sport, comparing 21 to 19, or heck, even if you go to a bigger bike, and you all know I ride big ADV bikes, and yes, you can feel that difference from a 21 to a 19. And the 19 is definitely confidence inspiring. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the suspension on both of these bikes. And you saw when I sat on them before, they're both very soft. You saw them really dip down. If you come here to the back, you can just see it dips down. If I get to the front, I don't know if I can press it much, but you can see it really dips down. It's soft suspension over here, and that comes right over here onto the 300L. That's the L or the LS. You can see it dips down a lot as well. Now, the 300L, I mean, heck, you can just look at them. It's got a little bit more travel suspension and definitely much more beefy shocks right there. But again, both of them are soft. Their characteristics on-road and off-road are almost a spitting image, believe it or not. You know, if you're on the road and you're going over bumps, it kind of absorbs them, and it's a really comfortable ride on the road. Even when you're off-road, it's not really jerking and bouncing you around a whole lot, you know? So I really like that. I prefer soft suspension. Even on my bikes with adjustable suspension, my bigger bikes, I usually leave it softer. I never really firm it up ever, you know? I prefer that. But yes, both of these bikes, you will feel them bottom out. The XR150L, you will feel bottom out a whole lot more than the 300L. If you're going over something and it's kind of constant, right? The shock's compressing, you're gonna feel it, and it's really gonna hit down right there. I mean, now if you're going faster and trying to get super aggressive on it, you're gonna feel it a lot more. I've only been in a couple situations where I really felt that, but again, yes, it is noticeable. Coming over here to the 300L, I'm not an aggressive rider, right? Not wheeling, not speeding, not jumping, anything like that. But I get off on some, you know, sketchy terrain every now and then, and this gets me through it. And very rarely, maybe once, I felt the suspension bottom out. It's more the rear suspension that you're gonna feel hit than the front suspension. Over here on the XR, it's both, the front and the rear. But again, when I'm saying that it's super soft, don't think you're gonna sit on it and you're gonna go and hop a curb and it's gonna bottom out. It's not like that. You gotta be on some good off-road terrain to make either of them bottom out. But yes, the XR suspension will bottom out a lot easier and a lot more frequent than the 300LS. Now let's go and take a look at tech on both of their bikes here. And taking a look at the XR, first off, you can see you got your miles, you got your trip, which resets by a little dial over here. You got your neutral indicator, high beam indicator, and then your turn signal indicator. And that is really it. There's no tachometer, there's no fuel gauge or anything. It's pretty much basic and bare bones. Now when we look over here at the 300LS, there's a little bit more tech. I mean, it's not loaded by any means, but you got your tachometer, you got your fuel gauge, you got digital speed, trip A and B, and then you can cycle through here how much gas is using your average gas, and then a gear indicator. Now the LS right up here, you can see I have the ABS button, which you can hold down and turn off the ABS or turn it back on. Over on the XR, obviously not. But again, you can just see, like, this is really nice, especially the fuel gauge. So talking about that tech on both bikes, again, the XR kind of being bare bones and basic, and the 300LS having the core necessities, I really believe. And you're gonna get a lot of mixed opinions on this. You'll probably see it down in the comments. It's what I've noticed a lot on the forums or in previous videos, is people love bare bones. Who needs a fuel gauge? Who needs a tachometer? Who needs a gear shifter, you know? Yeah, you don't need it, but it's very, very nice to have, especially if you're a new rider. And I think a lot of new riders are gonna be looking at these bikes, kind of comparing them. Number one being because, again, what we talked about, the riding position being lower and everything. And having that stuff for a new rider, a gear indicator, is amazing for a new rider. That reassurance of your fuel to let you know you have more in the tank is one less thing you got to worry about, one less thing that's on your mind. You know, the tachometer, I don't know, you're going to get used to the sound of the exhaust probably within your second to third ride of the bike. But again, it's something nice to keep in your mind so you're not just running a bike into the ground. And then your trip and all that other digital stuff is nice to have. It really is. And even me, I'm not an advanced rider by any means, but I love that tech. Again, I love that stuff being off my mind of, dang, how good is my fuel? Oh shoot, did I reset my trip? You know, oh man, what are my RPMs at? Should I be shifting, you know? Or if I'm off-road, I sometimes like, no, wait, am I in third or second right now? It's nice to look down and see that. I think the tech should be a very big selling point on us, as minor as it sounds. And again, I absolutely love the tech that's on. Even though it's minimal, it really separates them a lot, I believe. So now that we all have a good understanding of both bikes here, from price, from sitting on it, to the height of it, and what it's really packing as far as features and functions and everything, I want to touch on our last topic here, which is one of the most important, and that is performance. How are these bikes actually going to handle? Now again, you got a 150 over here, you got a 300, and the first thing I want to do is actually fire them up. Now we'll see if this fires up right off the bat here. I did turn it on to get it over here. There we go, and you can see that's pretty much how it is. It's pretty much fires right up for you. And just standing in front of it, you can see how quiet that is. I love it. Now let me go to the back of the bike here. And this is what it sounds like behind, just at idle. And then if you're up in your riding position, this is what you hear. Now if we give it a little bit of gas here, this is kind of what it sounds like when you're cruising. Just like that, a little bit. Oh, it's not warmed up enough here. That's pretty much your cruising sound right there. So as you're listening to the XR150L, I personally love how quiet it is. I've seen videos of people taking out the baffle and people talking about it. The great thing about this bike is how quiet it is. You're taking it off on these back roads, and me personally, again, I'm not an aggressive rider. I love sightseeing. I love being into nature, and being able to still get some of that sound out there with this bike being so quiet is so nice. Now, if you're in a group ride or something, again, I gotta bend down sometimes to see, okay, hold on, did I actually turn on? Is it actually fired up? It is that quiet. And that is a pro for me. Now, when we come over to the 300LS, it's a little bit of a different story. It is significantly louder. Oh, I'm not in neutral. Dang, son of, let me try to see if I can do this with my hand here. 1 second, guys. Bam, we're in neutral. Okay, you're gonna notice how just instant this starts up here. Right out of the races, right? And you can just hear the sound difference already. It's definitely a little more bassy, a little more rumbly. Let me go to the back of it here. You can hear it. That's right there. This is gonna be your riding position, right up here. We'll give it a little bit of a gas. Back here. Riding position again. But at the end of the day, sound is sound, right? A lot of people manipulate them, whether it be quieter or louder. Me personally, again, you go on group rides and you know, people got these super loud exhausts and it rumbles through your helmet. You're like, okay, let me get in front of them so I don't got to hear that throughout this entire ride. You know what I mean? So again, I prefer an exhaust with a tone, but nothing that's like ridiculous, you know? So again, neither of them are bad, but I do love the sound of the XR. But other than sound, performance. The 150 to the 300. Do you notice a difference? Holy smokes, yes, you notice a massive difference. This bike, the XR, around me, I got highways that are 65 and a lot that are 55. 55 even to get to the back trails I want to get to. And getting out there, you're pinned out, you're topped out, you're giving the bike everything it has. And for me, that's just a nerve-wracking feeling. That's probably the one thing that doesn't sit well with me here, is I like having a little bit of passing power, a little bit of power to get out of that situation. If I see something up there, you know, someone pulling out, I can zzz and get around it real quick, or whatever it may be, you know what I mean? You don't really have it over here. Maybe first through third, you might have a little bit, but it's not gonna be snappy by any means. And talking about that not being snappy, that's another great thing about this bike. Talking about the confidence, no matter where you are, if you're in first, second, or third, you know, you're pinning it out, you're never gonna feel like you're getting ripped off this bike. You're never gonna feel like you're popping a wheelie. Again, it kind of holds you back from making a mistake, which is very nice, especially if you're new to off-road, right? You're not gonna be whiskey throttling. If you accidentally hit a bump, it's not gonna throw you off the bike. The confidence on this bike, top to bottom, again, especially with the power, is so reassuring and so nice. Again, you feel like you're in control of the bike no matter where you are within that throttle. Now, coming over here to the 300LS, 300L, whatever, they are a bit snappier, especially first and second. You're kind of snapping right through those first, second, and third. You're kind of right through them. Every now and then in first or second, you feel like you will pop a wheelie, you know. You can get that occasional whiskey throttle if you hit a divot or something like that. And again, the power is night and day between both of them. It is that big of a difference. You feel like you got that passing power. If I had to jump on the interstate, going 75, maybe an exit or two, I wouldn't want to, but I would do it with this if I had to, and I'd feel confident with it. No way in a million years would I jump on the interstate with this. Again, I don't want to do it on either of them, but if I had to, I could on this bike. So breaking that down, if I'm getting on a road that's 55 or 65, man, I'm perfect. I'm comfortable, I'm confident. I just know I got that extra bit of oomph in the background of this bike to get me through that situation. That I absolutely love. Now, again, if you're off-roading, you got extra oomph back there, but usually talking to power off-road, I don't really need that extra oomph because, again, I'm not, you know, wheeling or going crazy or speeding any bit off-road. I'm like a 30-mile-per-hour off-road or something like that, you know what I mean? And again, I think both of them really do that. I'm not spinning tires or anything crazy, you know, so I think both of them are plenty fine off-road. It's that on-road, again, oomph, where the 300L gives you that nice bit of reassurance that, okay, I can get out of that situation if I need to. But flinging it back over, the XR is very nice because you never feel like you're not in control of the bike. So here we are at the end of this comparison, but don't leave me yet because I think we have a very important topic to kind of sum up here. And that is, which bike are you gonna get? Which bike is for you? You can see there's a lot of similarities, but at the end of the day, they're very different motorcycles, very different dual sports, right? But the core thing is, what kind of riding are you gonna do? You've heard me talk about my kind of riding and kind of take that as the point, right? My kind of riding, and think about, are you more aggressive or are you not as aggressive? Are you not gonna really do much off-road? And you can really, you know, decipher them. What are the roads around your area? What kind of roads do you have to get on to get to where you wanna go? And when you break that kind of stuff down, you're really gonna be able to decide right there. Of course, number one, like we started with, is budget. You're talking $3,000 more over here. Does it justify it for you? You got to decide that. And I think when you consolidate all of that, not my riding style, not which bike I prefer, your riding style, right? And what you prefer is going to be able to decide it. Just take my experience as that starting point and build around that for you. But what I want to let you guys know is, why did I pick up this 300LS right in line after I picked up the XR150L, both 2023s, and I've had 3 other 300Ls before. Why did I get another one? This 300L is an amazing bike. It is such a fantastic platform. It's gonna do just about everything you need to do it. It really is. But the 300LS is the extra bit of confidence, which I love, right? I'm 40 years old. I'm no young buck by any means. I got a family, and that's more important than crazy off-roading, as it really hit home with my recent accident, which was the scariest thing that ever happened in my life. And that honestly sums up why I like these smaller bikes that are a little lower, a little more planted, and I can really get down onto it, right? Because at the end of the day, I want to make it home. That's number one, right? And I really get that feeling with these. But again, why I had to make this video right now with a busted up ankle, which I'm waiting for ortho to call me right now so I can get going, I am selling my XR150L. And wrapping up this video, you can see the extra peace of mind that comes with the 300LS is exactly what I'm looking for in a dual sport. And this checks every single box for me. And I believe that $3,000 extra, which is a lot of money, you're talking you can buy 2 of these. Again, if you're not getting ripped off at a dealership. But I think this bike is going to be part of you. You're going to be able to really grow with it and keep it in that collection of yours for a while, and it's going to take you everywhere and do everything. I feel like the XR150L might hold you back a little bit, right? It will hold you back, and once you get on those bigger roads, you can be like, oh, geez, okay, you know what I mean? It's going to have you in some of those situations. I feel like the 300LS is really going to get you out there and really give you everything you need for the long haul. If that's for a new rider or an experienced rider. And yes, all day long, I picked a 300LS. So anyways, thank you so much for coming along for this comparison here. I hope I was able to break it down as a user's perspective, an actual owner's perspective. You caught through this video, I didn't talk anything about specs because there's a great place you can go find all the specs on any of these bikes. That's Honda.com, right? I don't believe in sitting in my reviews preaching about specs, reading the back of the box. That's not what I do. I want to give you that real users, that real owner's experience so you can relate and connect with me and really pick them apart. And hopefully I was able to help you out one way or another with this decision, because I feel like these are 2 bikes that you really should have in your comparison if you're looking for a nice new dual sport, even though they're some of the hardest motorcycles to find from Honda right now. But again, hopefully I was able to help you out one way or another. So thank you so much for coming along for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I hope I was able to help you out. If I was, hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And once my ankle heals, I hope to catch you out on an adventure. Bye now.